Assalamu alaikum. Where is everybody? Alhamdulillah. No, it's glad to, I'm really happy to see so many of you are here despite everything that's happened this week. I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk to you about what's happened, what the news has been all about, and what the real story actually is. It's really important to separate truth from hot headlines, and I think it's important for us to take a sobering look at what reality of being in Canada is. So the first thing that you've heard about maybe people potential. First of all, the absolute first story that started, 5 o'clock Monday morning was about, that person in California being connected to some Al-Huda branch in Pakistan. You have to understand context here. Al-Huda worldwide has educated or reached easily, a conservative estimate is over 100,000 people. That's a conservative estimate. Probably many hundreds of thousands of students. You don't smear, slander, or shut down an entire institution over the decisions and acts of one individual who's not a representative sample of that organization. Right? That's the first thing to be really clear about. And you know what? It's not about just telling people that, it's about believing it in your heart. That it's a statistical reality that one person out of 100,000 or more is not going to have the right idea. If you accept the narrative that that's actually what happened in California, and that's a whole separate discussion. That's the first thing. The second thing that happened Monday afternoon was part of the story then switched to us, right? Where a very opportunistic broadcast turned their attention to us, saying, 4 people from Al-Huda went abroad and tried to do X, Y, Z. You have to understand another thing. At no point did the RCMP or any police authority come and ask us about any of the people they discussed. And I can say that with full confidence. I've been here for a number of years. I've been serving this community in a full-time capacity for over 4 years now. And these issues that they're talking about, first of all, they're 2 years old. Second of all, in my entire time here, as the main point of contact, I've never been approached about these 4 people. And guess what else? If you ask me right now, I couldn't tell you who they are. Because nobody has even told us who they are. Were they a listener? Were they a student? Did they drop in one day? Did somebody's friend of a friend tell the news that they actually attended Al-Huda? So we can't ascertain that they were ever here. But you know what? Even that's not the point. Let's assume they were here at some point for passing through. You all have been studying here, many of you, for over 4 years in this course. You tell me if this makes sense. You tell me if these two things add up. And like we said, and have been saying all week, if anybody, even remotely connected to this institute, goes and tries to do something like this, they do so despite of us, not because of us. They do so against what we teach and what we firmly believe to be true. That's the second thing. So you need to have full confidence that coming here has no impact on you. Now, all those facts aside, we have a reputational problem now. Because once that smear is on, it's going to take a long time to get off. It's going to take a long time. But you know what? It's already started. And through all the difficulty that we've seen over the last 5 days, I have seen some things that have inspired me like I've never seen while working with this community. If you've seen that hashtag online, Al-Huda taught me, that was started by former students to tell the world themselves what they learned here and what the Quran means to them and what this institution has meant to their life. And you've seen not just students, but people who disagree with this institute using the hashtag to support us. And that's phenomenal. And you've seen everybody from Abu Isa to Sheikh Walid to Sheikh Yasser, to Abuna Muhammad, to you name it, Umar Suleiman, talking about how this institution is a pillar in religious education now. And we have to continue to support it. Because you know what? This narrative, this story that's going around, guess what? It's not about us. It's not about this building. It's not about Al-Huda. It's about Islam. And now is the time where we tell everyone that Muslims will not accept this story. We don't agree with it. It's not okay with us. And that's what Muslims around the world are doing. This morning I got a message from Imam Zaid Shakir personally saying, I have put up a message of support for you guys. Imam Zaid Shakir, one of the biggest imams in the US, somebody whom we wouldn't normally say, oh, we look up to him or we ask him for this, ask him for that. Somebody who comes from a completely different perspective. One of the most well-respected speakers out there. He's saying, I don't have any tolerance for people speaking up against you. We have support. We need to continue to show the world that we are together and we're not crazy. And you know how you're going to do that? I'm going to ask you personally. I'm personally going to ask you to do two things. Call somebody who's in this class tonight who didn't show up and ask them to come back. Tell them, how are you going to let somebody chase the Quran away from your life? Tell them, what have you learned over the last few years? Are you going to let that stop? No, you're not. Bring them back. Bring a friend who doesn't attend. Tell them, you sit and listen. You know, when this news broke, I went to the gym one morning where I work out with a bunch of non-Muslims. And you know what the first thing I did was? I said, hey guys, you saw that school on the news? And they said, yeah. I said, that's my school. Those are my people. You know why I did that? Because they know me, and they've known me for years. And they're like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not who you are. That's not what you people are about. And I said, exactly. I've had this entire week, I've had condolences from non-Muslims all week, saying, I'm sorry that they're running wild with your name, but that's not who you guys are. And we need to show people that. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do is continue to use that hashtag. Please continue to share with the world the beauty of the Quran. It's very, very important because we have journalists following it. I got an email from a journalist earlier this week saying, I'm watching your hashtag to see what you're saying. On Facebook, on Twitter especially, because Twitter is more public, it goes further. We have aunties signing up for Twitter. It's amazing. No, seriously. I never thought I'd see these aunties on Twitter, but it's pretty cool. So don't be afraid to come here, and don't be afraid to share what you've learned with the rest of the world. The last concern that people have had, which is very real, is a concern of security and backlash. That's a very real concern. And I don't, for 1 second, want to challenge you or challenge what you feel about that. Because I'm just as scared as anybody else. I was one of the ones pushing for the decision for the school to be shut down. But guess what? That's also part of the story. That when you label Muslims, when you throw them under the bus, this is what happens to them. So while we expect attendance to be low over the next couple of weeks, keep coming back. Because we've had the police out here almost every single day assuring us that there'd be no threats and no suspicious activity. We've had them parked in the parking lot overnight to make sure the building's okay. They showed up every morning at 9 a.m. to greet us and tell us you guys are okay and we are with you. So please realize that as an institute, we're fine. Now the work begins to fix the reputation. And I've had people not on a daily basis, on an hourly basis asking me, well, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I've had the heads of major North American organizations reach out to me and say, you have our full support and our entire team of staff that will go to work for you because we're not accepting the story. So as you've seen, there's certain media outlets that have pushed harder than others. And we have taken the steps as in accordance with how we give nasiha. We have very privately taken or started the course of doing that. So our communications with them are private. We're not making a big deal about it yet. To see if they will understand the damage they're causing to the Muslim community in Canada. It's not about us. It's about Islam now. And so we'll see, inshallah. Just know that we're not going to roll over and take this. We can't push back as hard as maybe we want to, but we do not accept the narrative because there's no truth in it. There's no substance or reality to it. And you have to understand that. We're not just going to say, oh, they labeled us, maybe that's who we are. No, we're not. And we're very confident about that. And we'll see. Maybe if it doesn't go that way, we'll continue to push. And we will continue to push. And we need you guys to push with us. So please realize there's nothing to be worried about. You're not going to learn anything crazy here. Trust me, I've known her for a very long time. And everything's going to be okay in the long run. Remember that when you know, in the khutbah yesterday, we talked about the boycott of Mecca. A time in the seerah when the irrational people in society decided they were going to suffocate and stop the religion. And they tried for 3 years to literally choke out the religion. And they couldn't do it. And even when the closest people to the Prophet ﷺ told him, maybe you should consider taking some form of their deal. Maybe we should just back off a little bit. He said that if you put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left hand, I'm not going to stop. Because that's not my choice to make. This is our religion to be practiced proudly and to be spread amongst others. And I will do so no matter what the cost. And when he and the companions stuck it out for 3 years, Allah's help came in the most unexpected way possible. It was miraculous help. And I have no shadow of doubt in my heart that if we stick this out, Allah's help will come in a miraculous way. And we will be better for it. But I need you all to stick it out with me and with us and with all of the rest of the Muslims. And to continue to show up and learn and to not be afraid. And keep using the hashtag. It's really helping. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.